Hey, what's going on? It looks like Trish was here. Let's see if she still is. How are you, my lady? Hi, put my notify on. Did you see Carol Lyon's home video? The one with the hair? No, I don't know that I could stomach it. Seriously, I cannot stand that. I don't even want to call her a woman. She's like not even human to me. Caroline, Caroline. Ugh, she's so much fun. Are you still here, my girl? Okay, what else did you say? She said, at least when she's not at work lying to us. And she's a blast. That's hilarious. Okay, let's get started. I hope you're still here. Sorry, I'm a minute late. I was trying to finish listening to this Trapmore Ross video about Nolan Wells. It was an older one, but I still really like his content. And so I thought it might be helpful to watch before I had my live. And he said he was going to say something that he never did say. So that's why I thought I'd push it. But, he probably just forgot. But sometimes I think content creators try to do that to get you to listen all the way through to the end, because then it's better for their clicks and all that stuff. Anyway, Anna Bees and Just Jackie, woohoo! Just Jackie says, I'm here. Hey, Jazz, Patricia, and everyone. Lovely to see you, girls. Oh, it's so much fun. It's kind of late on a Friday night. I was a little tired, but I pushed myself. Let's see, my necklace is askew. And I hate it when my stuff is askew and I don't notice it. And then there, I don't know if that'll, you know what? I should probably just take it off. I don't know. I'll just put it in my shirt so that it doesn't distract me and that I don't worry about it. Okay. So everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All of my videos are made for the tube of you. And I'm so happy to be here with you all. And Anna B says, how's your mouth feeling? Whoa, always me. I have such a nice smile. I haven't gotten my teeth like whitened or anything. They get kind of yellow with the braces, but I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is the pain and suffering. So thanks for asking. I got the braces off Monday. Today's Friday. There's just been a lot of soreness, and it gets better each day, but it just kind of feels like a horse kicked me in the teeth. Like, I don't know any better way to describe it. And I think the top is not sore anymore, but the bottom is still very sore. So I've been taking a lot of ibuprofen and Tylenol, and, I still put the wax on sometimes just because it's kind of comforting. I put it on super thin, but I don't have any on right now. So I'm excited that I can talk without it slipping around, and I won't have to stick my fingers in my mouth like a toddler the way I have been all year. So Monday I get the Invisalign retainer fitted, or no, they made it at this last appointment, so they'll give it to me. They'll put it on when I go in on Monday, and then I'm supposed to wear that 24/7 for 6 weeks. But I'll see if I'm allowed to take it out for my YouTube videos so that I don't have to deal with the talking funny. And, it's like, it's weird how it just like misshapes your face. I mean, the camera misshapes your face anyway. I mean, it does all kinds of weird stuff. So let's just jump right in. Let's see. Hit your like button, please. Make sure you're still subscribed and turn on your notification bell to ring, and share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel. And JusticeAtooZ is here too. Woohoo! Party on, Garth. How exciting. Yeah, I thought since it's Friday night that being on super late for me, 11:30, but I know some of you guys are on the not the East Coast Standard Time, so it's not as late. Like for Trish, she's it's only like 8:30, right? Sun hasn't even gone down for Trish. Get some pure virgin coconut oil, swish around your mouth Hold it as long as you can and spit it out in the trash. Now, is that for whitening the teeth, or is that for the pain and suffering? Because, yeah, I've got some really good, pure, virgin, organic coconut oil. I'm a little night owl, just Jackie says. I got home like 30 minutes ago. Oh, cool. Well, you said like 30 minutes, and I added the ago. For healing your mouth. Oh, that is so good to know. I wish I knew that all year. Dang it. Oh, well, better late than never. And I have my ice water. I've got my notes. So I really want to talk about the Nolan Wells case. It has been consuming me, and I just don't think that there's any doubt that there's all kinds of effery involved. I don't think there would be so many high profile people on the case. I didn't realize it had even been on MS Now, that Lindsay, I forget her last name. She's one of my favorite anchors on MS Now. Let me see what her last name is. Lindsay. I was going to say Lindsey Graham. No, that's not it. Okay. Let's see if AI can tell me. MS Now anchor Lindsay. I'm going to say, who is light-skinned black? That's not her. That's a white woman. Lindsay Davis. That's her. Let me show you her picture. She's really smart. She's cool, and she's gorgeous too. Check her out. You see her? So she had the attorney on, Ben Crump. And it's funny that his name is Crump and then you got Trump. But anyway, I did not realize that it's that high profile, that it was on MS Now pretty early on in the case, so I didn't get involved right away. So I've been kind of reviewing some of the older stuff. And also because there's not a whole lot of new stuff. There was the autopsy, the second autopsy, the inconclusive autopsies. And then, there's a lot of like milking the story. And I hate to see that, a lot of people that try to pretend that there's new stuff when it's stuff from a few days ago that we already know. Things about Katie, the white girl that was there on the island. I continue to really enjoy that channel called What She Said Sports. That woman kicks some butt, and I've learned a lot from her. I've learned a lot with this case. So yesterday I took your guys' advice and I watched my Mississippi Burning. I was going to say Miami Burning. I watched the movie Mississippi Burning, which I can't believe I'd never seen it, but of course I knew the storyline. But it's so good with William Dafoe and Gene Hackman and Frances. I think her name is Frances McDermott, the one from Fargo. But I told you guys that last night in my short video that I did while I was out walking in the dark again. So now I've had a hat trick of those, three for three. So that reminds me of like there's like a sign for the Klan that I did not know of until a few years ago, and I'm not doing it because I'm part of it. I'm doing it so that you guys can know to look out for it. So sometimes you'll see people do things, so it's like I know it as the okay sign, but they'll like tuck their hand into their belt, but then be hanging the 3 out. So it's a Klan symbol. So just so you know that, because it's a very real thing. And this whole case with Nolan Wells has really opened my eyes to things. Like I was so ignorant. I didn't even know that the 4th of July was like controversial for Black people to celebrate at times in certain places. But then when you think about this 4th of July being the 250th anniversary, and then come to find out, and I learned this from the content creator, What She Said Sports, Horn Island is next to an island that was pivotal during the Underground Railroad and kind of like where the Buffalo Soldiers started. So it's the island just west of Horn Island, and I'm forgetting the name of it. I know I have it written down, but I might need to Google it because it might be hard to find it. Let's see. But, you know, she had said something that the internet denies, but let me see what the island next to Horn Island is. Island next to Horn Island with rich Black history. Ship Island. I knew it was an easy 4-letter word. So Ship Island has this super rich history. And then Horn Island, she said, is people who like to hang the OK sign, that it's like a popular place for them to hang out. And of course, the internet denies that, but it also brought up Nolan Wells' case and said that it's a rumor circulating the internet. And it would make sense that it's Mississippi, and that with Ship Island being right there and it being such an integral part of Black history and freedom fighting, that Horn Island would be the opposite. It would just make sense to me. But who am I to argue with the interweb, right? Sorry I didn't think about it till now. Well, Annabise, I'm gonna have to work on forgiveness to you, my dear. Just kidding. No, but I know I did think it was kind of funny. I'm like, as a nurse, and you didn't think of it till now, but I totally understand. Things escape us, don't they, when they're right under our nose. Iohan. Oh, were you trying to guess the name of Lindsay Lohan? Gotcha. Funny. I like Lindsey Graham too, but yeah, what was her name? Lindsay. I always forget her last name. Dang it. I have to ask it again. I'm not going to worry about it. I was watching What She Said Sports. She's live right now. I know she's live right now, and I was just like, dang it. Because I'll watch it later. I know I saw she was live right as I was coming on, and I was like, poop. But again, like, she just has a very great wealth of knowledge and history, and she tends to hype things up, but I don't think she's doing it in a bad way. I think she's doing it in a very informed and educational way. And, you know, she does kind of go to like worst case scenario, but again, she's a Black woman and she's lived with it her whole life. So she's been living the worst case scenario. And maybe I'll play you a little bit of Leslie Jones, because she's a really funny Black woman. And she talked about Nolan Wells on The Daily Show. I was even more surprised to see that. That was just last night. Leslie Jones, you know, the tall Black female comedian from SNL. She's the bomb. She's so funny. I love her. So yeah, I was thinking I'd play you that. And thanks for choosing me over What She Said Sports, because that's a tough one. Like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, if only I knew, but then I wouldn't be on with my friends right now. So I'm happy to be here, and I'll go for being on the replay crew for her. Oh, once you see the hand sign in context, you see it more than you'd want to. Yeah, Josh sees. I did not know anything about it. I'm going to have to scratch my nose. And I do have a box of Kleenex if I need them. Got the fan on. It makes my nose tickle. I did not know anything about it until a few years ago. And then I noticed it on a content creator from South Africa. I'm not going to tell you which one, but if you want to know, you can email me or text me, and I'll let you know. So she's got a South African accent, but she doesn't live there. That's all the clues I'll give. But she had it like, it was weird. And I was like, oh, F her. And then of course, South Africa, she's got super light skin. I wouldn't say she's white. She doesn't look Caucasian. She looks more, I don't know, Russian or something, but I don't know. I'm not real good with nationalities. But anyway, she was born in South Africa, and of course, South Africa is extremely racist. That's where our dear frenemy Elon is from, right? Grr. Okay. Oh, I'm missing so many good comments. Sorry. She's live right now. She was showing a pic that looked like Nolan lying down in the boat with the boys. Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't read that whole thing. And I saw that picture and I was like, oh, that's so hard to say. If it, sure, it looks like it could be a leg and a foot if that's suggested to you, but it was so like pixelated. And I mean, the photos, the cameras do weird things. And there's a ton of AI out there. So Anna Bees, and for anybody else who hasn't seen it yet, I put up a community post last night of that real like high profile picture of Nolan and his 3 white friends on the boat where they have the necklaces on. I used that for a thumbnail recently. But I found that there's 2 of them that are quite different. And one of them, Nolan's not wearing the red necklace. And his friend on his far right has long sleeves on. And the one on his left that's wearing the white necklace has a cross in the one necklace, but then not in the other necklace, not in the other picture. Sorry. And so for the thumbnail that I used for this one, I used the pictures that are looking kind of flirty. Like the guys almost kind of look like they're making out. And I don't know what that's about. But I think we need to be very aware of all the effery and all the AI with the videotapes, with the photographs. I mean, they definitely manipulated the photographs with AI, but then it just makes you wonder, like, how far are they going with that? And not to pull like a Ryan Upchurch, but like how much of it is fake? How much of it is just sheer BS? I do know that their GoFundMe for the family has gotten close to $1 million last time I checked. And I think that's great. I think they need that money to live and, do everything that they need to do. I mean, if people want to donate that money to them, more power to them. I'm not saying that any of it's fake, but we know that a lot of the digital information is fake. And then a lot of it's being manipulated by the media and by the Mississippi authorities because, yeah, their whole state has a wretched history and they're still at it. And they're trying to pretend that they're not. They're like, no, that's in the past. And it's like bullcrap. Totally not in the past. Oh, so yeah, I'm going to guess that is probably fake. I think a lot of the stuff that we're seeing is fake. Let me get caught up. There are so many racist people commenting in the chat. Oh, right, in hers, because she's good, what she said. And yeah, the internet trolls, the Russian bots are out in full force. And I want to read you some comments. Hopefully I'll remember to get to it. That when I read you the thing that Ashley Cole posted in the last time I sat down for a live video like this a couple nights ago, I really wanted to read you the comments because they're good, they're hilarious, they're even better than her stupid thing. But I forgot to do that, so I was going to try to do that tonight because I got all the time in the world. You guys ready to pull an all-nighter? Actually, I'll have to wrap up like 1:45 at the latest. If you want to do a long 2-hour video, we can do that. It's nice to not be rushed, and it's easy to go 2 hours with my friends. So let me start here by getting caught up and then go from there. But yeah, the racist commenting in the chat. And it's just so annoying, and it's almost funny. Like, they don't realize how freaking obvious they are. Ugh. And then Josh sees, I read that one already. The once you see the hand sign in context, you see it more than you'd want to. I know I've seen famous people with it in photographs where I just thought they were being cute, like doing something like with their eye, or I don't know. But yeah, not cute. Not cute at all. I wasn't notified. I knew that would happen. It's so lovely to see you, Patricia, or Trish, as we'd like to call you, as you like to be called. It's so sad that this type of thing still happens in 2026. Right. And then there was the other Black 18-year-old that was shot in the head at the house party in Lexington, Kentucky, same day. But we don't even know that Nolan passed away on the 4th. In my opinion, he could have passed away before that, and he could have passed away after that. They have his date of death as July 6th, but I think that that's pretty typical when they use the date that they found the remains, right? You guys can help me verify that. No kidding, Josh says. Glad you're back, Patricia. Thanks. Let's see. Yes, Leslie Jones is so funny. She's freaking brilliant. I love her. I told you guys about the Trump impression that she did, didn't I? It's so good. I'll find a link to it and put it in the description. It's so good. She's freaking brilliant. Like, I thought she was kidding when she's like, I want to do a Trump impression. And I was like, oh, that's funny as a Black woman, right? She freaking nailed it. She's just that good. Patricia, maybe undo it and redo it again. Oh, the notification. I pushed the notify button for when Jazzy is on. It never notified me. 2 pictures you posted earlier looked like one must be AI. I want to see them overlaid. Well, and Josh, that's what's so weird about the 2 pictures, because it's almost like that game where you're looking at 2 drawings and seeing like where the differences are. Like, there's a flower here, not there. The button is on this one, but 2 buttons on that one. It's almost like that. And there's a lot of things that are the exact same. So it really makes me think it's manipulated rather than just maybe taken a half an hour later. Because like their hands are in the exact same places. In one of them, the guy who's not wearing a necklace is holding a beer. But in the other one, he's just doing like the hang 10 thing. And then the guy who's got the shirt on in one picture, he's holding a bottle, but in the other one with his shirt off, he's holding a can. And yeah, it's weird that Nolan does not have the red necklace on in one of them. And then it's also weird that the guy in the white necklace has the cross in one, but not the other. The whole thing is weird. But I was really glad that I came across that and was like, wait a second, isn't this the same photo? And then it's like, no, it's not. But yeah, it is. Like, the hands are the exact same. Like, I look for little things because, when you take pictures, you could take a whole bunch in a row and they're going to be like almost the exact same, but you'll see just like the littlest movements, right? The littlest angles change. And there's so much that's the exact same that it's definitely digitally manipulated. It's not 2 separate photographs. I mean, not 2 different times that they took photographs anyway. That is so weird that they would make 2 different pictures. Well, yeah, because then they just want to like see which one is better for the narrative. Like, I don't know. And I don't even know if Warren is the guy on the end that's wearing the shirt in the one and wearing the like blue or black necklace in the other. I don't know if that's Warren. Like, the other 2 guys definitely aren't Warren, but that one might be. She's on HGTV now with a show. Oh yeah, Leslie Jones. She is effing funny AF. So funny. Please hit the like button. AI is going to F up plausible deniability and beyond a reasonable doubt for the foreseeable future, not to mention the court of public opinion. Right. Well, they've already completely effed up the court of public opinion. They've done that on purpose with all of their posts. And, you had the judge posting twice, and now you have the prosecuting attorney made a 3-minute video the other day. Like, that's just, they're laying the groundwork for their narrative. And the facts to me are evident of guilt on the kids' parts. And everybody keeps trying to say, oh, gotta wait till all the evidence is out there. And it's like, yeah, if you're the police, you do need to wait until all the evidence is out there, but we're allowed to have our opinions, and we want to be intelligent about it. But when you have that guy Warren Hudson going and interviewing with Officer Tatum, like, it was a different content creator. Like, I watched a whole bunch last night that were as critical as I was about Officer Tatum. But they were like, why wouldn't Warren go on like Fox News or MS Now or NBC, some mainstream media? Like, everybody would want to interview him. And the fact that he went on YouTube is sus enough. But then the fact that he went for the MAGA racist guy on YouTube, that is definitely getting paid to be MAGA racist, to be the token black guy. And he is just like so slanted, and he thinks because he puts officer in front of his name and because he's black, that people are going to believe his bullshit. And he doesn't even make sense. The crap that he's saying is not evidence of any sort. It makes no sense. Like, he just says a lot of stupid crap. Okay, if you prefer I won't swear in the future, oh no, you're fine. I just try not to for my algorithm. No, I love dropping the F-bomb. It's my favorite. It really is. It's therapeutic, isn't it? Okay. But thank you for offering that. No, you swear away. Please swear freely. The faces look like they'd line up perfectly. Yeah, they do. The angles and everything. And then there's like different boats in the background, and it's just very odd. But the one guy with the cross, or with the white necklace and the long dark hair, he's like very kind of cuddly with Nolan in some of the pictures. And then there's other pictures of Nolan with the guy sitting on the other side of him, where they're like super flirty looking. And I'm like, is that authentic, or are they trying to, muddy the water with some being suggestive like that? It's really odd to me. It's really odd. But those were the pictures that I used for the thumbnail. So you can see them right there. Okay, Anna B's Just Jackie says, I already took my nighttime medicine, but I will hang out with you as long as I can. Well, yeah, we'll talk you to sleep, my dear. Will be your bedtime story. The only question I have is why the GoFundMe at 750,000 and the reward is only 125,000, and none of that is from the GoFundMe. Miss, hello, lovely to meet you. I don't know that we've met before. I totally agree. Let me make sure. Yeah, I pinned that. I was wondering the exact same thing. I was thinking they should put a huge chunk of that into the reward money. That would be a super amazing investment. But maybe they're hoping to get the information without having to do that. But if it were my kid and I had that GoFundMe account, I'd probably put $500,000 into the reward money. And I might still hope to get more in the GoFundMe, because you lose a child, it's going to take you a long time to be fully functioning again. It's not like, I know they've gotten some nasty comments like, oh, you're just trying to get rich quick. It's like bull crap. You can't put a price tag on family member or a loved one's life. And it's a really high amount of money, but good. I mean, they're being open and honest about the GoFundMe, and people are wanting to donate. But I was wondering the exact same thing. I'm like, why aren't they tacking that on to the 125? It makes no sense. So thank you for saying that. Jackie, I was just about to take mine and stopped myself. LOL. I was notified, just Jackie says, Miss Lawyers. Oh, well, I thought that Ben Crump was, if I'm saying his name right, I thought that he was doing it pro bono. But yeah, of course. I mean, they probably have ways around that too, where they can say that they're doing it pro bono, but then they can take fees down the road for other things. Because I know lawyers are crafty AF. They always get the money, right? The lawyers and the doctors, they always get the money. Missy, well, I would say probably because they can't go to work because their child was red-rummed. Yeah, but I would just think that it would be easier to be functional once you know the truth, no matter how hard the truth is. That being in limbo, and then especially if the limbo persists and people get away with it, that's the worst. That's just mayhem. But yeah, the not knowing is probably the worst part from what I've heard and what I've seen. It's the living in limbo, like knowing the hideous truth is healing. Having the information is healing, as grisly as it might be. But I really wonder if he might have been, if things might have happened before the 4th and they've been able to manufacture it to make it look like he was still, because remember, he slept the night at their house the night before. So perhaps it happened the night before. Or perhaps he was languishing for a day or two and it happened not too long before they planted his remains there. And I 100% think that they planted his remains there, because it was actually the park ranger who got to work at like, I think 6:30 a.m., give or take, on the 5th. And he did like the flyover of that area, and there was no Nolan there. And then he went back and did a flyover there again at like 8:45, and then Nolan was there. So it seemed like, unless he didn't see him for some reason, it seemed like his body was planted there in that time. And yeah, you guys are right as far as he didn't have a shirt on. He just had the swim trunks on. He was face down, and he was like on the land right where the water meets the land. So it doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound too plausible that he washed up. It sounds like he was placed there. Of course, tides change, and I don't know all the specifics about the situation. So maybe he washed up, and maybe he wasn't there at 6:30 when the ranger first did the flyover, and then maybe he washed up. But you would think that they would talk some about the current and stuff like that, because I think everybody involved believes that he was planted there. And if he was planted there, that tells you foul play right away. Oh, of course, unless, yeah, he just drowned and then they panicked and hid the body, which is just bullshit. If he just drowned, sure, kids would panic, but they would also come clean. They wouldn't be doing all this. And they would also be feeling really bad, and they would be emotional, and they would be remorseful, and they'd be less organized. Like they're too well prepared and paced and rehearsed, and like there's just no emotion. They're just like, oh yeah, this is what happened. Like they're real mechanical about everything. Anyway, my goal is to get caught up and then look at my notes. So let me try that. Missy will probably, okay, read that one. And correct, Josh, lawyers. I'm just saying that if it was my child, I would spend every penny figuring out what happened. Lawyer is not going to cost $750K. I've had an attorney once, twice actually, and they can rack up a big bill really quickly. They do whatever they want. I mean, they bill by 6-minute increments. They bill by tenths of the hour, and if they spend 30 seconds on something, then that's a tenth of an hour right there. It's nuts. And a good lawyer these days is probably $1,000 an hour. Like when I had my lawyer in around 2000, I think the lawyer was like $275 an hour. That was in Seattle. And then my husband and I have had to have representation in the last few years. And I think the Dayton lawyer that we had, I want to say, was like $175 an hour. And we had to pay him like with real money. It was awful. The case in Seattle was a contingency case. So I only had to pay $1,200 to retain the attorney. And then they took a percentage of what we won against King County. But then they nickel and dime you to death. So, they charge you for everything. It's like, oh yeah, that cup of coffee we offered you when you came into the office, that's going to be $20. I'm not kidding you. It's like everything is in there. Like every single piece of paper, every stamp, everything. They get theirs. They fleece you. They pretty much take it all. I mean, I know that's what people say, but that's the truth. Like, if they can, they'll take it all. They're dirty, rotten bastards. I mean, I had a good attorney in Seattle, and we had a good attorney here too, but you can trust them about as far as you can kick them, because they're business people. They act like they're there for you, but of course they're just there for themselves. There's extensive forensic studies on establishing approximate time of death in all sorts of situations. I doubt there's going to be much help from experts in that state, though. Exactly. And then, they say because of the water, and, they're just being so squirrely about everything. It's like, of course, water makes a difference, and the heat makes a difference. The humidity makes a difference. I mean, that's a really hot, humid area. There's also alligators down there. I don't know if there's alligators around Horn Island, but there's a ton of alligators in that area. So I don't know. I don't know if they go out into the salt water. I would think so, but I'm no alligator expert. I know I hate them. I know they're scary. Okay, but this is one of the big things that those boys say. And if you've heard the call for help when they said that their bilge pump wasn't working and that their boat was filling up with water, and they tried, now they're really saying, well, we had to rush off the island because the boat was taking on water. So we were trying to go in a hurry, and we were trying to get Nolan, and we tried to tell him to come and tell him to come and tell him to come. He wasn't coming. And so we were just like, well, we're going to have to go without you because the boat's taking on water. And then they make the call, and the call is ridiculous. If you've listened to it, you probably would agree with me. You can tell it's fake. Like, she's asking all the right questions. It's sort of like AAA for boats. And she's like, how many people are on the boat? How many inches deep is the water? And the guy, again, is just being gamey AF. Like, he can't say how many inches of water there are. He can't say how many people are on the boat. She asks really specifically, is everybody in good health? I'm sure that spooked his ass out. And then, he kept stumbling. And yeah, you could say, okay, somebody's panicking that their boat is sinking, but why the F would you leave the island if your boat's taking on water when it's 10 miles inland? That makes no sense. You would stay where you're safe, where there's an island and there's boats around, and then you'd call for the help to come there. Like, so their story's just not making sense at all, in my opinion. And Anna B says, I agree, Josh. And we know Anna B is our super smart nurse. I want to say nurse practitioner, but just super smart nurse, right? I'm not going anywhere. There's an alligator. I know. And then I think Florida is the only place that has crocodiles. I looked that up recently because I didn't really even know the difference. There's so many alligators in the southern states, and I think they go all the way over to Texas. And I want to say they go pretty far north too. Probably like South Carolina, but probably just the states that are on the ocean. So, but yeah, I mean, I would think that they're in the saltwater too. I don't know. I mean, are they just in the marshy areas that aren't saltwater? I just know that a lot of them are in Florida, a ton of them. And oh, maybe the place with the crocodiles is Louisiana. But anyway, then in Florida, you got the Everglades with all the giant pythons. Like that's like a scary movie that doesn't even sound real, but it is. Ugh, it's gross. Absolutely gross. And then you got the alligators and the pythons fighting each other. What a scary movie that is. Josh says, I doubt they secured the scene or bothered with a thorough investigation. Right. Like they didn't allow Cadaver Dog on the boat, which is ridiculous. That's insane. Like that's a tell right there. You can't say, oh, well, you can't be conclusive since they didn't have the Cadaver Dog on the boat. They tried to get the Cadaver Dog on the boat. I think it was the Cajun Navy that was like, hey, we have a Cadaver Dog right here. Let us on the boat. And they were like, no. No Cadaver Dog on the boat. No. And then there's this whole thing with 3 boats. Exactly, Jazz. You wouldn't go back into the water if your boat was taking on water. No, I actually lived on a boat for about half of a year when I was in college at Evergreen State College in the Puget Sound. And so I know boating life some. I mean, that was a very specific experience because the Puget Sound is very calm, mostly. And we were sometimes anchored and sometimes docked. It was my boyfriend's boat, and it was an interesting experience. And of course, we met a lot of interesting people. But yeah, I mean, if you're on an island, you're safe because it's land. And then again, there's all these people around. You're not going to get in the boat knowing it's taking on water and then trying to go 10 miles across a big area of water, between Horn Island and the rest of the state. That's crazy. That is completely insane. I'm telling you all this stuff, alligators, pythons, and red rums. You're not selling me on going to the south or the east. Definitely not. Absolutely. Okay, so let me look into my notes here. In the interview with Officer Tatum and Warren Hudson, that's the 19-year-old boy who's just so effing ugly. The one who is the stepson of the Judge Ashley Cole. He kept repeating everything like 3 times or more. It was insane. It definitely sounded to me like confabulation and like he was just trying to fill the air time with more words. It seemed to me that he was repeating things just so that he could keep talking, so that it would sound like he was giving information, but he would just repeat the exact same thing, like right after he said it, and then he'd repeat it again a minute later. And you could say, okay, well, he was nervous because maybe he's not used to being interviewed, but this was a voluntary interview, and they could have edited or they could have re-interviewed. I mean, he just was so robotic, and he said a lot of the exact same things that Scammy said. Like, he said something about popular misconception, you guys. Scammy from the Kylie Rodney case, for people who aren't familiar. Sammy Smith said, oh, that's a popular misconception. And it didn't even make sense. But the way she described what a great person Kylie was the same way Warren described what a great person Nolan was. Like, oh, they just light up a room, and the smile. Oh, and they love the water. Again, both of these people tried to, in my opinion, hide their deceased frenemies in the water. Good evening, Miss. My love, how are you? Exactly. Filler words, popular misconception. Well, I didn't know that. He might not have said popular, but he said misconception. He said it a couple of times. And I'd have to review it to remember exactly what he was referring to. But it was funny because it was just like, oh my God, they really have the same playbook. They really do. Sammy must have sent it on to them. And then, I did find out today that Nolan is one of 6 kids. So he has one sister, I believe is older, and then he has 4 brothers. I think at least one of the brothers is older. And his sister and one of the brothers have a completely different last name. So I'm thinking that those are probably from a prior marriage with the mom. And then maybe Nolan was born between marriages, and that's why Nolan has what I think is his mom's maiden name, Wells. And then Wansley is his father's last name, and his mother's hyphenated. And then there's 3 brothers that have that last name, and one of them is a junior of the father's name. So, that's one of the things that Ashley Cole, the judge, wrote in her post was like, oh, we're the parents of 6 kids and we can't have these threats to their lives. It's like, well, Nolan's parents are the parents of 6 kids too. One of them is now not alive, and the other 5 are in great danger and mourning. So, don't want to really hear about your problems, bitch. So meet our new friend Josh Sees, who came over from another channel called Trucker John. I don't know if you're familiar with Trucker John. He's pretty cool. And Ara is one of our old OGs, and she has her own channel, Josh. She's the bomb. She kicks some butt. I'm telling you, if I see Linda Luschetti here in this case, I will. I know. It won't surprise me if I'm sure they have people on damage control, right? And I was going to look up that post that Ashley Cole did and then read you some of the hilarious comments. Okay, let me do that now before I forget, since it's the second time I'm bringing it up. Oh my goodness, my phone is on 15% and I have it plugged in. I'm thinking that there's something wrong with this charger. So let me see. I have another one right here, I think. And I can plug it right into, it's my computer's not plugged in. Hold on. Why is everything coming unplugged? That's not good. Okay. So get the computer plugged in. It's at 50%, but still, you don't want it to have issues. And then I'm going to get the cell phone plugged in because it's all the way down to 15. And if I don't have my cell phone, I can't think. Okay, so what was I looking up? Ashley's thing. Excuse me. So how is everybody doing tonight? It is what, the 24th of July? So it's been, tomorrow it'll be 3 weeks since this poor kid lost his life. If he did indeed lose his life on the 4th of July. Judge Ashley Cole's original posts on Facebook. Judge Ashley Cole's Facebook posts. I'm dying to find the, I hope I can find the comments that were so funny. Well, I'll just read what I see here. This is from July 8th, and it's a Facebook post that about it. See, the one that I was looking at was like, I think on X or something, but somebody says, I have video footage of the person that unalived Nolan Wells. It was one of the boys who told Nolan he is not coming on the boat. And then this person says, this is hilarious. Judge Ashley Cole is the mastermind behind all of this. Get the deleted text messages. And you know what? They're probably right. They are probably right. And then this person says, it can't be fact if she wasn't there. It's like, what are you talking about? Of course it could be. But let me see if I can find the one that was so funny. Judge Ashley Cole's Facebook posts on Instagram or X. I think it was X. Let me see. I don't think I'm going to be able to find the same one. I'm just not very good at this stuff. And this person, here's a good comment. Just have your son hold a press conference and say what happened. If he's not guilty of anything, why not speak? And somebody says the call is coming from inside the house. There's a lot of good comments here. It's absolutely coming from inside the house. Right. Or she could be telling lies again to make folks feel bad for her and her killer kid. Regardless of evidence, you just want the white boys to be guilty. Oh, right. Don't ever say anything else about us being racist. We can't keep up with you racist people. OMG. Nobody wants anybody to be guilty of nothing. It would be nice if it was just an accident, wouldn't it? I mean, being alive to receive death threats regarding the dead, irony, huh? I knew someone had connections in the courtroom, lineage. And I've heard that there's 2 other kids involved that also have ties to law enforcement. And so this person says, most of them are related or know someone corrupt in high positions. That is one of the reasons Black people make up the highest percentage in prison. Some of them are very evil people, as we've learned from our past history. Not much has changed except those white hoods. Now there are judges, politicians, police officers, prosecutors, lawyers, etc. And it's a freaking conspiracy. And if it's as bad as it looks, there's a lot of people involved. This person says, give them a sec. They're going to tell on each other in 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. It's so sad how they tried throwing the girl under the bus, Katie. What a nightmare. This person says, whoever did it will end up giving himself away. If you can live with unaliving someone, then you are heartless and need to be in prison no matter what. Someone will eventually cave to the pressure. But that hasn't happened in Kylie Rodney's case like we've been hoping. Not yet. It's been 4 years almost. Plenty to tell. They killed him. They should have had a knife like Anthony, and maybe he'd still be here. I think they're referring to that case in Texas, the kids at the track meet, that the one got stabbed and the other one just went to jail recently. I guess it was self-defense, but it didn't get painted that way in court because it was a white kid that got stabbed and passed away, and the Black kid got put in prison. Let's see. I'll get to your comments in a sec. The threats can really go to the police, and people can be arrested for threats, and that's what needs to happen with that. Well, the FBI is on it. Like, they're not investigating the death of Nolan Wells, but they are there to investigate the threats against the judge and her family. They're not investigating the threats against Nolan's family. They should have all been arrested by now. Where's the questioning? Well, and again, the sheriff or the police chief, he gave himself away when he so quickly said, no foul play suspected. He should have just waited 5 minutes before he said it, and then it might be believable. Let's see. Ara does kick some butt. Yes, she does. Is there any explanation to why the boat was taking on water? I don't think the boat was taking on water, Josh. That's a really good question. I think that was a lie. That was part of the obfuscation. And it didn't go well. Because then, like, the call went out and then they canceled it. They said, oh, no, everything's fine now. I think they were just panicking and they were trying to figure out how to muddy the waters, and they were just being really stupid. Your cats mind drive me crazy. They unplug stuff and move stuff. You can't cat proof your house. I know my cat ate my old mic, the one that I could just clip to my shirt, and I could actually have it plugged into my cell phone. And my cat ate it, and it was like $50 or something. I got it at Best Buy, and I was like, I'm not going to replace that because the cat will just eat it again. I mean, my husband got this one for $50, and the cat can't eat it. It's too big. The cat would try, but yeah, that other one was snack size. Okay. Your cats mind drive me crazy. Yeah, I know. Not to mention the kids, right? Josh, I don't know if there's any info on that. Or are you back to school yet? Anna, it was an IO or an outboard. I do kind of know boats. I'm curious what the boat was. It was like a 22-foot, I forget the rest of it. It's in the call. It's not a 911 call. Like they just call the boat towing company directly. And then yeah, I'd have to look. And we could probably Google it too. Josh, I know nothing about boats. I grew up in the desert, LOL. I also wonder, per what Jazz said, how they looked kind of close in some of the pictures. Is there a potential gay interracial aspect that wouldn't fly down there and needed to go away? That would math out. That's a really good point. Oh my goodness. Wow. I had not even thought about that. That's a really good point. Wow. And there's so many racist comments going on when people are talking about it. That would explain scrubbing the phones, etc. Right, especially if there's like dick pics and stuff. I mean, seriously, right? Yikes. Wow, that's brilliant. But of course we don't want to like stir up rumors about that, right? I mean, especially if there wasn't, but even if they're trying to do something with those, to me it looks like suggestive photographs. But maybe they're just kind of staged, right? Maybe they're AI. I think a lot of the photographs are AI. I even think some of the video footage might be AI. Not so much that first footage where they pan the whole beach with the argument, but then that second footage where they said that it was probably Nolan that was on the back of that other boat. And I think that is allegedly Katie's dad's boat. I don't know. What does this mean? Okay, what do you want us to do? They said what they said. Just reading all these replies. Some of them are really interesting. Oh, I was going to play you guys that Leslie Jones. I don't want to forget about that either, but let me finish up with this real quick. She wants sympathy for her and her living children. Meanwhile, the child you took with you didn't come back and you went home, got in your bed and went to sleep. I'll say this, if my child go with you and don't bring him back, it's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing on both sides. Let's see. Let's just go straight to the Leslie Jones stuff. The Daily Show. I think it's just from yesterday. Daily Show, Leslie Jones. My favorite. The Daily Show is so good. But well, this one is 10 minutes long, and I think it's worth playing the whole thing. But let me see what you guys are saying before we do that. I thought it was shorter, but it's probably, yeah. Let's see. That's my theory for today, Josh sees. I think it's a brilliant theory. And it could well be valid, and that would make sense. I mean, not to be too snarky, but none of those other guys look like they could get laid. I mean, those white boys, They ain't got the riz. Nolan had a lot of riz for sure. Anyway, let's play this Leslie Jones. At 63, I ran into my ex-husband. Not that. Come on. I hate the stupid ads. You know what? I'm going to look and see if I find a shorter one, because no, maybe that's all there is. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to play it.
What's up? I'm Leslie Jones, and I'm here to talk about racism. Stop! Oh. Don't you click away. Put that damn remote down. Because the right-wing media, the right-wing media, is doing its...
I had it on speed and a half. Could you tell? She talks fast anyway. But sorry about that.
And this to gaslight us.
I'm going to start it again because that was funny.
What's up? I'm Leslie Jones, and I'm here to talk about racism. Stop! Don't you click away. Put that damn remote down. Because the right-wing media, the right-wing media, is doing its damnedest to gaslight us into thinking racism is not a problem anymore.
There's no more division. There's no more bigotry. There's no more racism.
These propagated groups that talk about racism as if it was still a problem. We've moved past this. Stop trying to put us back into a racist society.
America is not racist. America is the least racist country in the world.
Racism is fake. It doesn't exist.
I think you're a little confused. Harry Potter is the thing that is fake and doesn't exist. Racism is the reason there's only one black kid at Hogwarts.
I'm going to keep up with your comments here. Anna B says, I need to see the pics. I haven't investigated the case that much, but I'm going to. And I can send you some. I wanted to get the gist of the case first before I really dig in. And I think that this case is going to be very profound in our culture. I think it's going to have a big impact either way. Especially if they don't get away with it, it'll have a huge impact because it's like a turning point. If they do get away with it, it's going to have a huge impact too. I think it's going to be like George Floyd, basically.
Conservatives think if they ignore racism, it'll go away, like those gay thoughts they be having.
Oh, that is one of the best jokes of it. That the Republicans think that if they ignore racism, it'll just go away, like those gay thoughts they be having.
Doesn't work like that. And these people who say racism doesn't exist, what's the other thing they always say?
I don't see color.
I don't see color, and that's what we're supposed to do.
White people are the only people who do not see color.
We don't see color. Whatever happened to a colorblind society? I don't see race, color.
Okay, hold on. If you don't see color, how am I supposed to pick up foundation when I go to Sephora? Do you just point to the bottles and say, good luck, nigga? I hate when people say they don't see color. Not only do people see color, they hear color. That's why when I call my bank, I go, hi. My name is Leslie. I'm calling about my account.
I love her white person accent. But the reason I'm playing this is because she actually talks about Nolan Wells on The Daily Show last night. I was amazed. Maybe it'll go away, Justice.
And by the way, all these people who say they never see color, guess when they can suddenly see color?
To play Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson is played by an African American. Everything is reversed.
I want you to hear this loud and clear. Santa Claus is not black. Helen of Troy is not a black woman. You pick like the blackest black woman you ever saw.
You can see colors again! It's a miracle! It's a miracle! Oh, happy day! too sensitive. Why listen to me, an actual black person, when you can listen to a white person who's friends with a black person?
My oldest son went to middle school in Harlem. Many of our friends are black and brown.
We have dear black friends.
Some of my best friends are Afro-American.
In fact, some of my best friends are black women.
I have so many African-American friends.
Do you have so many African-American friends? Why do I never see these black friends? Show me proof of life. White people will always tell you they have black friends, and then you meet the one black friend, and it's Jack Harlow. Ew. Every white racist likes to brag about their black friends, and I mean everyone.
Do you hate black people?
No, I have friends that are black.
But you're an imperial wizard of a Ku Klux Klan group.
The imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan says, "Oh, I have friends that are black." That's lovely, isn't it? I've heard sporadic coverage on NPR. Otherwise, it's kind of past the mainstream media cycle. Yeah, the Nolan Wells thing. I know. That's why I was surprised to see that it was on MS Now a couple of weeks ago. I think when Ben Crump first got on the case, and then that it made it to Daily Show last night. I mean, that's sort of like, you've made it big when you're on The Simpsons, right? If the news makes it to the Daily Show, that's big. But yeah, of course, like Fox News isn't going to cover it. Barry Weiss, CBS crap isn't going to cover it. The shit these people say. So yeah, let me try to get through this ad and then on to more funny Leslie. Oh, don't you just hate the ads? There we go.
Well, I mean, he ain't say he was a good friend. Listen.
That's the KKK guy. He didn't say he was a good friend. Funny.
I never thought I'd say this, but Ku Klux Klan, you did a shitty job of hiring your Grand Wizard. Do you have a black friend should have been the first question at the job interview. If you ask them, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And they say, probably on vacation with my best friend, Jamal. That person isn't a good fit for the Ku Klux Klan. But even if these black friends are real, that don't mean shit. Because white people don't always treat their black friends the way they treat their white friends.
When you are the only black friend out of the friend group, you almost always are going to be the one. When the police come, you the one going to catch the charge.
There's usually a white person that's going to come up and start saying some dumb shit. And if I respond back to them, the other white people in here will try to work together to keep me in check.
One of my old friends, their friend had called me the N-word. And my old friend just kept telling me after that, oh, he didn't mean it in that way. He meant it as a joke.
Oh, it's a joke. You think calling someone a nigga is a joke? Then you're going to love this next joke where I hit you with my car.
That's funny. You're going to love this next joke where I hit you with my car. Oh, too funny. Okay. Anna B says, oh, Fox might try to say black people are racist and just want to blame the whites. Yeah, that's what they're all saying. Anna, unfortunately, you are correct. Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying. And that's what that black officer Tatum is trying to say, too. He's a sick freak, man. He's as white as they come.
These jokes is that white people only say them when they're surrounded by other white people or roasting Kevin Hart. Being friends with black people means looking out for us, sticking up for us, understanding us. You have to put in the work. I put in the work for my white friends. Do you think I knew how to pronounce Chappelle wrong? And then I decided she's pronouncing it wrong. And look, white friends, please, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I treasure our friendships. I love how happy you get when someone puts on Sweet Caroline. Sweet Caroline. Your smile makes me smile. And you're the only reason I know where Aspen is. It was in America the whole time. But it's not the same. Seeing another black person in the room is like when you find an M&M in the trail mix. Thank God you saved me from all those nuts and raisins. Like, if I go out and I see no black people, I'm on high alert. If I see 2 or 3 black people, I'm comfortable. If I see 4 or 5 black people, hey, now it's a party. But if I see 6 or 12, I'm leaving because that's entirely too many niggas. If you know, you know. Listen. I'm a comic and I'm having fun. But the point that I'm trying to make is that there's...
This is where she starts talking about Nolan Wells. I also wanted to mention real quick, they're having that stupid White House Correspondents' Dinner right now. I wonder if there's some attempts on Whitey McWhite's life, right? It totally makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah, the whole thing with the Nolan Wells. I'm so happy that she's talking about it, though. Let's go.
Power and community. And I can't think of any better power, better proof of that than the greatest day in American Black history.
Captured on video, a violent brawl in Alabama that appeared to involve a group of white boaters attacking a black dock worker.
After the initial altercation, members of the crew and community jumping in to defend the riverboat's co-captain. As you can see from this new footage, a man even swinging a folding chair.
Let me tell y'all something. When a black person's therapist tell them to close their eyes and imagine something that brings them joy, that's what's playing in their head. White people, that's how you look out for your black friends. If your friendship doesn't involve you swimming across a channel to whoop somebody's ass with lawn furniture, we don't want it. So why am I talking about this now? Because 3 weeks ago, a young black man went out with his all-white friend group and did not return home.
In this course, you'll get AI skills employers are looking for.
Stupid ad.
Let's get started.
But that part about the lawn furniture, that's funny. It is funny. Oh, wait, sorry. It went. I have to try that again.
Involve you swimming across a channel
That
to
replay.
whoop somebody's ass with lawn furniture? We don't want it. So why am I talking about this now? Because 3 weeks ago, a young black man went out with his all-white friend group and did not return home.
Questions are growing over how a black Mississippi teen died after he went on a boating trip with a group of friends who are all white.
Nolan Wells went to the island in a boat with friends on July 4th. Authorities say Wells' friends left the island and he stayed behind and was supposed to take a different boat back to the mainland Saturday, but never did.
Wells' family says that does not sound like their son and that their son's friends have not fully cooperated.
Do you think that race may be involved in what happened to your son?
I don't want to believe it is, but unfortunately, there's patterns, right?
Unfortunately, there's patterns. Nolan Wells' life was just getting started. And after what should have been a fun, carefree afternoon, it was cut tragically short. And while we don't yet understand exactly what occurred, we do know stuff like this happens all the time. And Nolan Wells, sadly, is not the only black child we've lost. When there's a lone black person anywhere, all these questions come up. Is it because white people weren't looking out for us? Do they think it's a joke? is keeping quiet just easier than telling the truth? Y'all need to realize that, unlike Mitch McConnell, racism is still alive and well.
That was a good one. You got to have a long pause for that.
And I know we can't solve every problem overnight, but what we can do today in memory of Nolan Wells and all of the Black youth we've lost is stop indulging in your own ignorance. If you believe in equality, show up. If you believe Black people aren't second-class citizens, then don't treat us like second-class friends. But hey, that's just my opinion.
Yep, it's a good opinion. Was Josh say? All I can do is call people out, like, WTF, dude, when I hear racist crap. Say that's not cool. 90% of my friends and coworkers are white or Asian. Lots of gay and Q people in my line of work, though. LOL. What's your line of work if you want to share? Yeah, it's a good thing to call people out, you know? I mean, sometimes just calling people out gently, you know? Or I think it's okay to call yourself out too. You know, we all screw up, we all say stupid stuff, and if we catch ourselves saying it, you know, if we catch ourselves in the moment or we catch ourselves later, another day, we think back and it's like, what the F was I saying? You know, it's okay. Like for instance, I have a friend who's trans, and when she transitioned, I'd known her for so long as my friend's son. I'd known her, I don't know, like 20 years or something. And she's actually who helped me set up my YouTube channel. So I kept screwing up because I knew her from prior to her transition. And I would catch myself and I'd be so embarrassed and I'd apologize. And she would just be like, you know, it's fine. It's a process. The fact that you care and that you catch yourself and that you apologize, that's all I ask. And I just thought that was really cool. So I wanted to share that with you guys in case you've been in a similar situation or you find yourself in a similar situation down the road. You know, us white people, we can be pretty oblivious at times, for sure. You know, like me, not knowing that the 4th of July was a white people holiday. It's like, duh, that makes sense, right? Kind of like Thanksgiving. Yikes. But when we're so steeped in our culture, I like to say it's like the fish doesn't know that it's wet until you take it out of the water. When we grew up in this culture, we just don't realize, you know, it's baked in, right? That was great. Leslie Jones is great. I'm glad you liked it because, yeah, I thought that was worth the time to play it. I love how she got all serious with it, you know, after the lawn furniture jokes. Talking about racism got me thinking about the contacts list in my phone, and holy shit, I don't have many black friends. Oh, that's cute, Josh. That is cute. Yeah. You know, some of it is like where you live too. Like, you know, if you live in an area that is segregated, some of it is that, but some of it too is like, you know, you can reach across the aisle and reach out and try to make friends with people. I love having friends of different cultures. I really do. I love hearing different perspectives. I love learning about all kinds of culture. It's very enriching. And each one of us has our own culture. Each single white person, each single black person has their own culture. I mean, our culture is very specific to like the family that we grew up in, the city that we grew up in, or towns that we grew up in. It's not just like America or being white. It's a very, very specific thing. And I just think it's fascinating. But whatever culture we're from, like that's our normal. And then, you know, like people that are raised in the South, that's very normal to have that kind of tension and segregation. I was saying in one of my recent lives that if I lived in an area where I knew that my children were being hunted, like literally, like in Mississippi, I wouldn't just educate my kids about it. I would move. I would get the F out of there. And yet I understand people wanting to stand their ground and live where their ancestors live. I totally understand that. I just can't imagine doing it, knowing that your kids are literally being hunted. But again, it's like put that into like the PDF culture that we live in with the Tate brothers and Little E and President Ponscum. All of our kids are being hunted in a sense, right? But we educate them about that kind of stuff, and especially when they're online. My goodness, yikes! It's disgusting, isn't it? Freaking. Predators. There's just predators everywhere. Not to be paranoid or anything, right? Shall we shift gears? We've been talking about this racism crap for too long. Make it go away. Just pretend it doesn't exist. No, but I do want to talk about some of the political stuff. It's so toxic. I mean, the racism is so toxic. The red room is so toxic. The politics shit is so toxic. But it's so important for me to have this outlet with you guys. So I really appreciate you being here to help me understand it, to help me process it, to help me transform that toxicity into something useful, and to be able to learn from it and to try to make a change, basically, right? That's what it's all about. But it is really toxic to focus on this stuff. It's super important for all of us to know how to take care of ourselves and keep ourselves positive. Like some of you might be aware, Anna Bees and Ara, if you're still here, about my button collection. I have the most exquisite button collection in the world. And maybe I'll put a picture of it up in my community feed, because it's something I've been working on for years. When my mother passed away, she had an incredibly extensive button collection that was more than I could even wrap my mind around. And I think I gave most of it to the Goodwill. That was not very smart. I was very overwhelmed when we cleaned her apartment out. And it was well before she passed away. And she was overwhelmed too. And she had moved into the nursing home. And she was, she didn't like that we had to do that, my sister and I. And I did it literally every day for 6 months, just like organized her apartment and purged. And, I was trying to donate things and give things to people and sell things that were worth money. But that was so much work. And then my sister lives out of state, so she would just come in like once every couple of months for a couple of days, and we would just like buckle down and just purge. And there was so much incredible stuff because my mom was an artist and she collected things, and just lots of cool artwork, lots of cool sculptures and paintings and art supplies, and lots of cards. She collected cards. She probably had thousands of cards, and they were such nice cards. But again, I was so overwhelmed. I donated most of them to the Goodwill. I'm pretty sure the buttons, like, I think I remember there being like a giant peanut butter jar of just black buttons, a giant peanut butter jar of just white buttons, and more giant peanut butter jars of more buttons. And I don't even think I went through them, which is really sad. I bet there were some wicked cool buttons in there, but I was just too overwhelmed. But yeah, I wish that there was like these art supply stores, like I've talked to you guys about, the upcycling art supply stores. Like there's one in Columbus. There's at least two in Cincinnati. I think one is called like the Funky Hippopotamus, and I don't know, something raccoon. Anyway, these art supply stores where you can donate all of that stuff, like buttons and cards and art supplies, and then it's a nonprofit and they sell it inexpensive, and then it gets upcycled and reused rather than, trashed, or, giving stuff to the Goodwill. It can get upcycled and repurposed. But, sometimes I wonder if some of that stuff doesn't end up getting trashed. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, here, I missed all these great comments. That is really cool. I have met some trans people and they were really nice. Yeah. And it's just really cool to be non-judgmental, I mean, I can't imagine how infrequently they run into that, right? I mean, just being so different and just constantly being in fear of like hate crimes and stuff like that. I know gay people, Black people, gay people, trans people can all be victims of hate crime. But that's, I'm glad I brought up the hate crime word phrase, because that's what is going to be so significant with Nolan Wells' case. If it gets prosecuted as a hate crime, that really ups the ante. But the fact, again, that the FBI has been investigating the threats against the judge and her family, but not investigating not only a suspicious death, but a very probable hate crime death in a highly hate crime ridden state. I mean, and it happened on federal property. The islands out there, the barrier islands, they're federal property, federal parkland, something like that. The Gulf Islands. Let's get caught up. I love having friends of different cultures. I like to hear people's stories. I know, I love it. And just like the different food, the different art, it's all very cool. Josh, I know someone from Rochester. Anna, Rochester is an underrated town. So is Syracuse. That's right. I was trying to remember where you were from, Josh. Did you say it again, or is Anna just remembering from the other day? I love upstate New York. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. There's a horrible crime up in that area north of Rochester and Syracuse, Pottsville. Are you familiar with that crime? Who killed Garrett Phillips from Pottsville? Josh sees. It's an kind of old case. I want to say like 10 years old. And Garrett Phillips was a 12-year-old white boy whose mom was white, and she was dating a white sheriff's deputy, I think is what this douchebag was. And she got together. She was living with that guy too. I can't remember his last name right now. I think it's like John Jones or something really plain and boring like that. So let's say it was John Jones. So she was living with the sheriff's deputy, and then they broke up, and she got together with this very dark-skinned black soccer coach from one of the colleges there in Pottersville? Or Postum. Postum, I think, is the name of the town. Anyway, they tried to pin the homicide of her son that happened in their apartment. They tried to pin it on the black soccer coach guy. And it seemed pretty obvious. If you've seen, there's like a documentary called Who Killed Garrett Phillips. It seems really obvious that the ex-boyfriend did it. And the couple, the interracial couple, it's a very racist town, but they'd been living together, and then they pretended to break up. Like they started living separately because her ex had been harassing her and because of the racism in the town. So they pretended to break up, but they didn't really break up. They just started living separately. And then it was right after she got her own place that her 12-year-old son was murdered in the apartment. And then the black soccer coach almost went to jail for it. I mean, it was only because he was very well educated, very smart. He had served in our military, because I think he was from Jamaica. But he served in our military, and he had a really good friend who was an attorney. And I mean, it was just by the skin of his teeth that he didn't go to jail. Let me look it up real quick. Who killed Garrett Phillips? Who killed Garrett Phillips? It's a really good case, anybody who's interested in it. So it's on, it was a 2019 HBO documentary, and Potsdam is the name of the town, and it happened in 2011, so 15 years ago now. And so the guy that they tried to pin it on, his name is Nick Hillary, and he was a soccer coach at Clarkston University. But when he didn't get found guilty during the trial, I don't think they've ever retried the case. And even the mom, Garrett's mom, has said that she thinks that Nick Oral did it. But I think she's just saying that because her ex-boyfriend has probably threatened her and her other kids. I think it's really obvious that he didn't do it. And that if he had done it, he would have been sentenced. He would have been convicted. And he almost got convicted even though he didn't do it. So I'm just looking to see if the case has been there's a new theory in the case 4 years ago. And yeah, poor Nick Hillary. I wonder if he still lives in the area. I would imagine that he can't. But I'm trying to find out if it's still unsolved, because I bet it is. It'll probably be unsolved forever because the police department probably did a lot of illegal things to help cover for let's see. For their officer. Is Garrett Phillips' case still unsolved? Yes, it's still unsolved. Let's see. So there's a Wikipedia page. I'll read it to you guys real quick, because I don't know if I did a good job explaining it. But I'm wondering how far away from you that is, Josh, and if you've heard about it. So let me get caught up with my chat first. It didn't happen by accident. The maps where we live were made intentionally. Keeps us apart. Yeah, Patricia, I know when I lived in Portland, Oregon, that city was really segregated back then in the 90s. Like the Northeast is where all the black people live. It's very uncomfortable. Let's see. I missed a whole bunch of stuff. I live in bumblefuck rural New York and work between Syracuse and Rochester. Okay, so that's where you said it. I love having friends of different cultures. Okay, and then let me get caught up. And then you say that Rochester is an underrated town, so is Syracuse. I know, they're gorgeous. It didn't happen by accident. The maps where we live were made intentionally, keeps us apart. I know, like The Thin Red Line. That's a really good movie if anybody hasn't seen it. It is terrible. We have to be diligent on keeping our children safe. Yes, your button collection was cool. Yeah, I think I sent the photos to Trish too. Potsdam. Yeah, he's heard of it. Let's see. Sorry, I'm all jumbled here. I was talking with my wife today, Josh says, about how there's no scary parts of town for me. Yikes. Didn't knock my water over, at least. Just my mic. But for her and our daughter, it's a little different. Yep, Josh. Being female is very scary. We have to be aware of our surroundings at all times. Yeah, I know. Parking lots are the worst. Getting in and out of your car is where you're the most vulnerable, or in and out of your house or apartment. The transitioning, because then you're distracted by all your like packages and the door and everything. Let's see. It went off a trajectory talking about my mom being a hypocrite, denying her own racism. Josh, you can't really change people, but you can try to educate them. And I can blend in and act like I belong wherever I am now. And I'm 62, so there's always an easier target. And I keep working on my neighbor. He went back to racism after Trump 2.0. Yeah, that's the worst. Potsdam, yes. Yeah, I noticed that when I was with my white 6'4" husband, no one ever did anything to me. I was so safe. That is wild. But yeah, big white guy. I played up there a couple of times a year for like 10 years. Played sports, or are you a musician? That's so terrible. Another story. I haven't heard of that case. Yeah, I came across it on my Roku, the Who Killed Garrett Phillips, and I was really glad that I came across it. It was years ago, and so I don't even know if I had my YouTube channel yet, but it's very well done. Oh, dang it, Nancy. Woohoo. Good evening, Jazz Chat. I saw that this channel, No Free Passes 500 on YouTube, speaking about Tyler Perry, got information on who killed Nolan. Haven't watched it. Going to next. A beautiful trans. That's wild. So No Free Passes 500. I don't know if I've heard of that channel yet. I might have come across it just in the last few days with the Nolan Wells case. There was a weird thing a week or two ago in central New York State. I can't remember now. So glad I caught your live. My mother used to collect buttons in old coffee cans. Yeah, so, I have... Oh, you'll see them in the photograph. I have these little tiny boxes that all of my wax for my teeth came in. Here, I can grab one real quick. One sec. It's right over here. Here's the wax and the box, but this one is not clear. This one is white. And I have a bunch of them that are clear, like literally over 100 of them. And, it's just really nice that I could repurpose them with all of my buttons. And so they're all organized, which is the best part. It took me a long time to figure out what to do with them. And I had thrown a bunch away, but then I started keeping them just because I hate throwing stuff like that away. I was like, there's got to be a good use for them. And then finally I realized my button collection was the good use for them. So I will post photographs. You'll love it. It's pretty. It's like an art, just the way all the colors are organized and everything. Let's see. Hello, Josh and Anna Bay. I thought it said Anna Berry for a second. And I think how you carry yourself has more to do with it than gender or size. Well, there is that, but yeah, I think for women, it is just rough. It is really rough, especially when you're younger. As we get older, we get messed with less. That's one of the good things about getting older, but still, you still got to be on your guard. And yeah, I try to carry myself very confidently and athletically. And I usually have a can of mace with me, to be totally honest. But, the cell phone is a good thing. And yeah, mace. Whistles are good. When I used to do a lot of just a lot more outdoor activities, and with my kids too, I wouldn't go unless I had my mace, my whistle, and my cell phone. Like if I had a little kid in a stroller or something, I gotta be fully prepared. Protecting the kids, the mama bear with the babies. Yeah, that's true. But women do have more of a chance of becoming a victim. Yeah. And unfortunately, the men are usually the ones victimizing. Although, of course, women can victimize women too. And women can victimize men. But statistically, it's just that way. Something to pass down to your children. LOL. Oh, the button collection. That's cute. I've thought about that, especially now that it's all organized. They'll be fighting over my buttons. I keep joking with my sister that she's going to want to come and kill me and steal all my buttons. She's like, nah, I got good buttons. I'm like, well, then maybe I'll come and kill you and take your buttons. Right? I'm glad you carry mace. Yeah, I know. Me too. I quit carrying it for a long time, but then I started carrying it again. Like, oh man, it was like 25 years ago. Yeah, it was around 27 years ago they started carrying it again. I kind of got stalked. Maybe I'll tell you about it one day. But yeah, I got mace because I'd had it from the time I was like a teenager all the way up until my adulthood. And then I think I got to a point where I felt very comfortable without it, but then I was being stalked, so I got some mace. And I've pretty much carried it ever since. And sometimes I'll go short periods where I won't have it and I don't worry about finding it. But I probably have like 5 of them laying around the house. I try to always have one. I have a taser flashlight with pepper spray. Don't leave home without it, especially on walks, but they have to get my German Shepherd first. Yeah, dogs are really good for that too. Although even my larger dog, the one who had cancer, she'd probably protect me in a situation like that, but she's not that big and she's not that scary. And then the other two, the Cocker Spaniel and the Chiweenie, I don't think they'd be able to protect me at all. But you never know. The Chihuahuas can get pretty vicious, huh? Not Cocker Spaniels, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to read the Who Killed Garrett Phillips, a 2019 2-part documentary directed by Liz Garbus, delves into the 2011 murder of 12-year-old Garrett Phillips in Potsdam, New York, and the subsequent investigation and trial of Oral Nick Hillary, a Jamaican man and ex-boyfriend of Garrett's mother, Tandy Cyrus. And let me tell you, Tandy Cyrus was very attractive. I did do some videos about Tandy Cyrus and Nick Oral. I remember now. So if you go back in my history, you'll see some photographs of the two of them as the thumbnails. The documentary examines the complexities of the case, highlights issues of racial bias and prosecutorial misconduct. But again, the white guy that worked for law enforcement pulling strings and then getting his coworkers to cooperate with them. So if he got busted, they'd get busted too. And that's never going to happen. So it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Let's see the synopsis. I just want to know that gross ex-boyfriend's name. But maybe it's not in here. Yeah, I bet he had his name scrubbed. Let me see. It's so obvious, in my opinion, that the other ex-boyfriend did it. Let's see. Where is that guy's name? What is Tandy Cyrus's ex-boyfriend's name that was in law enforcement when her son Garrett Phillips was killed? John Jones. Hey, I remembered it. Isn't that what I said? John Jones. So let's see pictures. Here's a picture of the mom with the kid. It's so sad. And so she grew up in the town, and she was very, very pretty. So she was always, one of the hot girls that everyone was after. Here's the despicable John Johnson, and that's actually a good picture of him. He's even uglier. He's just a disgusting piece of shit. And then the son, he's so cute. So he was the oldest of three, and she had a lot of trouble with men. I think that she had like 3 different baby daddies, at least 2 different baby daddies. But here's her with her hot Jamaican boyfriend in front of a waterfall. And then here's another picture of them. It looks like they probably went on vacation in Hawaii, because they're just like walking on the road and it's raining. But that's kind of hard to see because of the glare. Let's see. It's so sad. It's such a sad case. So this is a picture from the trial with Nick Hillary is the black man, and then that's what's her name? Tandy Cyrus, or Cyrus Tandy, the mother. Yeah, Tandy Cyrus. Any other pictures? Let's see. Sorry. Ask Google anything. I'm trying. Police officer John Jones in Potsdam, New York. So yeah, he was a sheriff's deputy. That's what I was trying to remember. Here's a good picture of how disgusting he is. If you can see that. Sorry, it's always bad because of the glare. That's why I have to like hold it sideways like that. Oh, there's a good disgusting picture of him. But see, on the screen he looks kind of normal. If you saw it like not on the screen, you could see he's monstrous. He's absolutely monstrous. A racist piece of shit who red rummed a 12-year-old kid because he was jealous of his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. But then when he thought they split up, he thought that it would look like the ex-boyfriend did it out of like retaliation, because he didn't realize that they didn't really split up, that it was, they were just trying to fake out everybody so that, like him, so that he would quit harassing them. He wrote them threatening letters, and this will be the last one I try to show you of him, because they keep having these really light backgrounds and it makes it much harder to show it with the electronic screens, with the technology. Anyway, get caught up with you guys again. Josh says Potsdam is half rich college town and half backwoods rural. There's also Canton and St. Lawrence University right up there. Yeah, I learned a little bit about the culture when I was learning about that case, and I thought it was fascinating. And isn't it really close to like the Canadian border? Like really close. Like stone's throw, right? What did you say? How far is Potsdam and Canton from Canada? A 15-minute drive. Or wait, 20 to 25 minutes. Yeah. So like 20 minutes to the Canadian border. Okay. That's good, Nancy. Annabee says, you drive 5 minutes in any direction. It's rural. Yeah. Upstate is like that, huh? On the YouTube channel is no free passes. It's only 20 minutes and it was 6 hours ago. Okay, thanks. I'm going to write that down right now, because it takes a while sometimes for the live chat to be back up. So I'm going to say no free passes. And haven't heard of that case. Rural New York may as well be effing Arkansas, to be honest. Isn't that crazy? I mean, Arkansas, I guess they have a lot of beautiful waterfalls. Like, I did not know that, but I think that that's what the state has to offer, is a ton of beautiful waterfalls. And I love waterfalls. Thank you, Nancy. There are so many similarities with Kylie and Nolan. Never should you ever leave your friends alone, though it was a girl and bro code. Right. And so both of them tried to say that this was my best friend, but no, I can't really tell you anything about them except they lit up the room when they came in and that they liked water. Yeah. But the other thing is luring people. Yep, right by Canada, Josh says. Getting tricked into going to these places. And I really think that they both essentially were kidnapped. I think they both were captured and held against their will. I could be wrong in either case or both cases, but I'm pretty sure in Kylie's case, and I'm pretty sure in Nolan's case too. So, like with Kylie's case, I think I brought up that movie Alpha Dog a lot with Kylie's case. For anybody that doesn't remember the movie Alpha Dog, if you remember the case with Jesse James Hollywood, and it was in California, and he kidnapped his rival's little brother who was like 15 years old, and then they made the movie Alpha Dog about the case. But when they kidnapped this 15-year-old, like, he knew he was kidnapped initially because they were in a van and they stopped when they saw him on the street and they jumped him and they captured him and threw him in the van. But then it was like his brother's friends, he thought, and he was 15 and he was just kind of naive. So he didn't, like, he kind of got tricked into thinking that he was just hanging out with them. I mean, maybe they were gaslighting him and it was like Stockholm syndrome, but he ended up hanging out with them for like 2 days and like going to a whole bunch of parties. And the kid's name was Nick. And he had a very Jewish last name. I'll look it up in a second. But anyway, when they took him to all these parties, like, people at the parties didn't realize that he was kidnapped or under duress or anything like that. And then it took them, I think, like 5 years to capture Jesse James Hollywood. And then when they finally got the case to trial, and they pretty much had like every single person from every single party testify at the trials. I think it was like 260 some witnesses. It was really sad. But that case reminds me a lot of the Kylie case. And I'm wondering if that's how the 4th of July might have been for Nolan Wells, that they lured him there and that he was kind of kidnapped and maybe didn't even realize it. I don't know. But let me look at the what it says here about Alpha Dog, Jesse James Hollywood. Okay. The AI overviews. Jesse James Hollywood is a convicted drug dealer whose life and crimes inspired the 2006 film Alpha Dog. In 2000, Hollywood masterminded the kidnapping and red rum of 15-year-old Nicholas Markowitz over $1,200 drug debt owed by the victim's half-brother. He evaded authorities for 5 years by fleeing to Brazil before being captured in 2005. In 2009, he was convicted of kidnapping and first-degree red rum with special circumstance and is currently serving a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. I want to know how many people testified in the trial. Let's see. How many people testified in the Jesse James murder trial? It thinks I'm talking about the other Jesse James. Hollywood. Oh, it was never formally published. I thought on the back of the movie, the CD, the DVD, I thought it said like 261 or something. It doesn't really have a number, but that could be the AI is incorrect too. How many witnesses? Okay, it's not going to tell me. How much of Alpha Dog is true? It is based on the true story and kidnapping in Red Room of Nicholas Markovich. Yeah. How many witnesses testified? For the prosecution. Okay, I'm done looking stuff up on my phone. Let's just see if it's still not telling me. Stupid AI, you're supposed to know everything. Okay. Intentionally set up to be in a bad situation. OMG, Alpha Dog with Justin Timberlake. I love that movie. It's a really hard movie to watch, but Justin Timberlake is amazing in it. Dang it, Nancy. Thanks for bringing that up. It's an awful movie to watch. I mean, the ending, I'll just like, spill the beans, but if you don't want to know, then I'll tell the ending. So turn off the video. But the ending is that he makes the kid dig his own grave. It's hideous. It's absolutely hideous. And I think that the kid realized when he was digging the grave that he was not going to come out of the situation alive. But I don't know. He might not have really believed it. It's just an absolute nightmare. So sad. Such a senseless killing. $1,200. Yeah. I've always said that they got her wasted and there was a fight. She was passed around with the guys. Anna Bees, I'm with you. Then when she was unconscious, Sammy played Weekend at Bernie's with her. I'm with you. And I think that the two cases, Nolan Wells and Kylie, are really similar in the whole thing with the fights. And, like Scammy tried to make it sound like it was the friendly fights, just like for entertainment purposes only, just to like break up the time, to keep from being bored at the party. And with Nolan, I mean, he was so athletic. He probably wasn't like a fighter type, more of a lover type, but he was probably pretty hard to beat up. And, that whole thing with the back of his neck and the redness and the way they drew it on the autopsy. So it really makes it seem like he could have been hit on the back of the neck with like a pipe or a board, or it could be that redness could be from hanging. The fact that they took his throat structure out and didn't transport it with the body for the second autopsy is very suspicious. Like, why the F would you take it out unless you're trying to hide something? And why wouldn't you say why you took it out, since you're sending the body without it? It seems like it would be normal to have like notes explaining why you needed to hold that part. But yeah, the fighting, the jealousy, the delay in notification for the parents, the delay. Kylie's case was a delay in notification for law enforcement too. Now they're trying to say that the kids called law enforcement at 11 o'clock to let law enforcement know that Nolan was missing, which is complete and utter bullshit. I think law enforcement is lying about that, because it was after 11 that they called the mom, and then the mom went into like full speed ahead instantaneously, but she didn't call law enforcement until about 12:30. And I think they're lying, saying that the kids called law enforcement at 11. Like, that's just information that I only got like today. And I'm like, yeah, that's weird. Like, why are they all of a sudden saying that? They're just trying to cover it. They're if it is what it looks like it is a huge conspiracy that involves, the judge, the sheriff, the Coast Guard. I mean, the Coast Guard was involved. I don't know what their involvement was exactly, but they were involved. And the FBI, the Cajun Navy, although the Cajun Navy is also very parallel to AWP, because it was the Cajun Navy. No, maybe it was the Ranger that spotted him, or maybe it was the Cajun Navy. Let me see. AI should know. Was it the Cajun Navy or a park ranger that discovered Nolan Wells' body washed up on the shore? It was a park ranger. Members of the Cajun Navy simultaneously spotted the location from an aerial search plane overhead. Okay, so the park ranger was on the ground. The Cajun Navy were conducting an aerial search via seaplane when they independently spotted the scene, and personnel on the ground later reviewing their photos, which captured the location of the body at the water's edge. 2 days ago, the United Cajun Navy sets the record straight on how Nolan Wells' body was face down, wearing only swim trunks. And then, yeah, there was all that misinformation about him being fully clothed that I think Ben Crump had gotten wrong in the when he did his presentation at the NAACP. But they spoke about the NAACP in the Mississippi Burning movie too. And again, I've been very ignorant. I didn't really know what that was. I had to look it up in one of my lives. And now I'm forgetting again the, let's see. I said I wasn't going to look any more stuff up, but you know me, I look everything up. NAACP stands for National Association for Advancement of Colored People. And it was founded in 1909. So the thing that Trapmore Ross was going to talk about that he didn't get to in his video was something about the number 776, like 1776. And what was it in Nolan's case? What in Nolan Wells' case was 1776? And I think I knew where he was going to go with that. but I'll have to watch the movie or watch the video and see. I watched it, but I didn't catch it. I think he forgot to go into it. But yeah, I'll check it out with Trapmore Ross. Whatever it was that was 1776, but that being obviously the year of the independence for our country. But I don't see anything in AI about it. Let's see. Sorry, I missed some of these. How did I miss all these? I'm just like falling asleep, huh? Okay, Josh says that's effing disgusting after what Anna B said about what we think happened to Kylie Rodney. What's even grosser is that then she was found 3 weeks later in the back of her CRV, her Honda, in the water right by where this whole thing happened. And they had the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, the Homeland Security, the ATF, the sheriffs, the local police, and more out there looking for her. And she was right there the whole time, right under their nose. And so it's really seemed like they were pretending that they couldn't find her, especially because they had this rule that like people couldn't look more than like 25 feet deep in the water, or like 25 feet from the shore. And her vehicle was like 50 feet out. And that was just nuts. Like, why would you even have a rule like that when you're trying to find somebody? But they had lots of weird shit like that. And then it went down in the autopsy, and officially it went down as a drowning, and nobody was found guilty of anything. And that's what's so unbelievable about the whole case. And she was literally a rock star. Like, she was like this child prodigy musician who had dropped a really awesome song on Spotify the year before called Far Away. And I'll put a link to that in the description. It's a great song that she recorded with a musician named Crepe, I think is his name. And that, I think that really put her on the map for people like P. Diddy to spot her, because people like P. Diddy, they were always looking for the hot young new artists, R. Kelly, P. Diddy, and little E, Jeffrey Epstein. He had a thing for musicians. Like, he really liked smart, creative people, and he was into this whole eugenics thing and wanting to procreate with what he thought were the ideal prototypes. And he said specifically that his ideal prototype not only looked like Kylie, but was smart and musically talented. Like, that was his thing. So, and then Mark Zuckerberg was out there, boots on the ground, looking for her, and then he scrubbed that. And that was one of the millions of most suspicious things. Another one of the most suspicious things I thought of today, you guys, Xana May, when she made that video making fun of people thinking that Kylie's disappearance and death were suspicious, she made fun of people for thinking it was suspicious. Why would you even do that? Like, why would your brain even go there? She was suspicious. It just kind of came to me today. I was just like, oh my God, like, that's just so effing nuts, the gaslighting and trying to embarrass people. So then people would be like, oh, I'm silly because I was suspicious and I shouldn't be. Like, trying to shame people. Like, what an asshole. Okay. Yeah, Josh. And so a lot of us have been really hung up on the Kylie Rodney case for the last 4 years because it never got solved. And then there was like another 16-year-old hot chick nearby that disappeared 3 months later, whose stepdad had been one of the officers, boots on the ground, looking for Kylie. And not only did she disappear and wind up deceased also, but there was all this weird stuff with her case, like the fact that her stepdad was boots on the ground for looking for Kylie. And then this happens to his stepdaughter 3 months later, but they never said that it was his stepdaughter. And her mom had just moved back in with him because they had been divorced. He married somebody else. I can't remember if Andrea Stanio had married somebody else too. Maybe not, because she still had his last name. But he married somebody else. I think they had one kid or more, but he had just divorced that other person and got back together with Trinity Backus's mother. And then he had an identical twin who was also in law enforcement, Matthew Stanio, who was a California highway patrol trooper. And the two of them in that area, but there was just so many wackadoodle things about that case. And Kylie, this beautiful 16-year-old, you might want to look it up. And yeah, that's what all of my videos in the beginning were about. And I thought that that was what my whole channel was going to be about forever and ever and ever, because I didn't expect it to ever get solved with all of the effery and law enforcement corruption. I never thought that it would be set straight, but I still hope sometimes that it could be. Anyway, let me get caught up. Oh my God, and I gotta fly. I'm gonna have to like not be caught up. Let me see how far I need to go. It was 1:37. Because yeah, I'm gonna have to just wrap up, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna miss the last few of these comments because I gotta go pick up my husband from work. So I love you guys. I'll read the rest of the comments later. Sorry to have to check out so quickly. Thanks for being here, and see you soon. Have a good night. Thanks again.